Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, whew, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. My fellow Americans and all you wonderful ecclesiastites out there in this wonderful planet of ours. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great grand estate of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. The call-in number this morning is 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603-835-3224. It is finally here. Primary day. Primary day in New Hampshire. And up there are 3 towns now that are voting at midnight. Not just 2, not just Dixville, Notch that everybody's familiar with, but there's a couple of other small towns. One town only has 17, it's less than 30 people, about 30 people that live there. Yes, we have towns that small here in New Hampshire. And they're actually called towns. But it looks like Sanders has basically won in the first 3 towns. Sanders wins, Hillary doesn't. And, of course, we've got there's some pictures out there that are starting to float around the net of Christie hugging Hillary Clinton, plus some stuff on what Bill Clinton has said about Hillary. You're probably not going to believe this. But after you hear it, it'll make perfect sense to you. And, of course, we've got all kinds of other stuff going on out there. What a former Mexican president said basically to Donald Trump. And you won't believe what Doritos did. Or I shouldn't say Doritos, but you won't believe what a pro-abortion group said and did because of what Doritos did during the Super Bowl. I mean, this stuff is just absolutely insane. And for those of you who have been wondering, last night I did some soul searching, as it were, and I have made my decision who I'm going to cast my primary vote for. And it was tough. Like I said, yesterday, none of the candidates, basically, I've heard the wisdom of if you agree with a candidate 80% of the time, if he lines up with what is important to you 80% of the time, then he or she should be your candidate of choice. And I had the problem of as I was looking at all the candidates and doing the Ben Franklin type of thing, that none of them lined up 80% of the time with me. So I had to drop it down to, okay, who's the 70%? Because you've known all throughout this process, I've told you, and I've even expressed what they are. I've had major differences and problems with each and every candidate. Well, it has come to pass that there is a candidate, or two actually, that I agree with 70% of the time. And I had to choose between those two candidates. Now, I'm not going to tell you who they are or who the candidate of my choice is, because I don't think that's my job to do that. It's a personal decision, but know that I have made a decision. And frankly, I think some of you are going to be surprised. Some of you are going to say, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. And some of you are just going to scratch your head and say, well, what the hell is he thinking? That's just the way it is. And no, I'm not voting for Sanders or Clinton or anybody on the Democratic ticket. But it is somebody on the Republican ticket, and I will cast my vote for this person later right after the show, because then I have to scooch myself over to the Radisson Hotel in Manchester, New Hampshire, where I will get to snooze, whatever, with all the wonderful people over there during People on Radio Row. Yes, I will be at the Radisson this afternoon on and live on the air on 90.7 New Hampshire Family Radio in Manchester later this afternoon. So, yeah, that's going to be exciting. I get to see all the... one of the things I found out is I am not enamored by celebrity. Yeah, and I was confirmed of that. I confirmed that at last Thursday's Republican gala, the Hillsborough County Republican annual, or Forple, as Jan Brady would say, Forple gala, and I know some people are saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe she did that. Referring to Carly Fiorina, hugged me twice. She hugged me twice. And you know what? I just thought it was she was just a regular person, because that's what she is. And I didn't even think anything of it. And there was a person who was there at the gala, and they listened to the program, and yesterday they sent me a message and said, you didn't mention anything about hugging Carly Fiorina. Like, well, I didn't even think of it, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's kind of, it was a genuine hug. I mean, you know the difference between a fake hug and a genuine? No, Carly actually embraced me. She's a real human being. That was it. That was kind of nice. But I didn't think anything of it, because I'm not into celebrity people. Do people realize I have never asked for another person's autograph, unless we're signing contracts or something. Then, of course, it's their signature, not an autograph. But it's the same thing. I've never asked for a celebrity's autograph. Never. I do find it interesting that I have been asked to sign my autograph a few times already. That was kind of weird. The first time it happened, I just looked at the person and I said, "Are you serious?" Because that's foreign to me. It really is. I don't know what it says about people, or if you like collecting autographs, some autographs are actually worth money. So if you're doing it, as a hobby and as a possible investment, doesn't cost you anything, obviously, except some ink and paper, I guess. That's fine. But me personally, I do not get into celebrity. I don't care who you are. I never get nervous around celebrity people. I have met celebrities before, and to me, they're just regular people. And sometimes you do look at these, they look at you like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you idolizing me? I just don't do that. There are people that I admire greatly, yes, and I would love to be able to meet and get to know, yes. But I do not get into celebrity. Just because you entertain me doesn't make you a special person that requires my special attention. Now, this is what celebrities usually do, is they just usually entertain you. I could care less. Great, I like your songs. Maybe I bought some of your albums. Maybe I watched some of your movies that you acted in or TV shows. But you know what? Other than that, you're just doing a job and being overpaid for it, by the way. But, you're doing a job like anybody else. It's no big deal. It doesn't automatically aggrandize you to a level of, superhumanness. Sorry, it doesn't. Well, as we roll on here, let's take a quick call to get things rolling this morning before I get into it all. 910, you're live on the Rod Eccles Show. Go.
Yes, sir. I'm calling because I am a woman voting for Donald Trump.
Yeah, we've got some news about Donald Trump and Clinton's bimbos are flocking and supporting Trump.
Yeah, well, that's kind of sad because other people can use the word bimbo, but if Trump repeats the word bimbo or uses the word bimbo, all the media spins it. He's the worst person on the planet. This man is the only one who's not a politician. I've met this man at a rally the other night in South Carolina. He is a real person. He's not being driven by money. He's obviously got plenty of that. He's driven by the fact that our country is going to hell. And I'm not afraid to say the word hell.
Well, no, you're allowed to say it. They say it in church all the time.
They do. They do. The fact that people want to say that religion is supposed to, bring our president, that's who's going to choose our next president. I believe in religion, but I believe that our country needs to be first. Religion is a state issue. Abortion is a state issue. The fact that all of these things that brought out, they haven't been able to really bring anything out on this man, any of these negatives. Corporate bankruptcy, something that all people use. Eminent domain, really? It's ridiculous. I'm not angry. I'm disgusted. I'm for the veterans. My father is a veteran. My father-in-law, a veteran from Vietnam. He's voting Trump. He was a POW, just like John McCain. My father-in-law told me to my face, he said, Suzette, John McCain is not a hero. He did what any other American who is captured and tortured did. He survived.
Yeah,
Veterans are for Trump.
Well, I think that's what Trump was saying when he said that McCain was not a hero.
That's exactly what he meant.
We tend to loosely throw these terms around like that, and hero is one of those terms that gets loosely thrown around. And look, this is done by, I'm going to be frank, what I believe in this. A lot of these terms that we're hearing today are loosely thrown around by the left in order to water down the terms and make them mean something that they were not intended to mean in order to fit the liberal agenda. Now, this is not a conspiracy. I've just watched this stuff happen. And you're absolutely right about the term bimbo. It is fine for a liberal publication to say it's Bill Clinton's bimbos, but the problem is that they're using it in a derogatory term.
Exactly.
So when Trump or somebody in the right or I say Bill Clinton's bimbos are supporting Trump, I'm using it in a term that isn't derogatory to those women, but as a descriptor that is actually derogatory to the left who's trying to denigrate these women.
Absolutely. And I think it's, kind of ironic that the left can call, okay, let's say Paula Jones a bimbo, and that now she's supporting Trump. But that kind of, that's a good thing because they've gone around saying, oh, Trump hates women, the war on women. She's chosen a man who the left says hates women. Come on, man. It's insane.
I've always said when the left accuses you of doing something, it's because they're doing exactly the same thing that they're accusing you of, and they're trying to cover it up. When Bill Clinton is standing on that stage and accusing Donald Trump of being a womanizer and hating women, are you kidding me? We're talking about the man who was caught with his pants down And who
in the Oval Office.
Really? You got a womanizer calling another man a womanizer. Really?
Exactly. I know. I've seen, I've been to these rallies. I've seen how the women, women are not stupid. Trump has opened this dialogue that no other politician would dare touch. And for that right there, that, if people cannot see through that alone, that one topic, he's opened dialogue.
No, that just brings the hypocrisy of the left into the light. Let me ask you now, since you're a what is it, a Trumpette or a Trumpite?
I'm a Trumplican, but I'm a Trump. You can call me whatever you want to. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Trumpette. I'm a Trumper. The funny thing is, my last name is Trump. So a lot of people look at me and go, "Did you say Trump?" No, it's Trump. I am a supporter of him. I am 51 years old. I have been speaking to my friends, and some of them have chosen not to be my friends anymore because they call me a white, privileged, racist bitch. Bitch is a dog.
Whoa, hold on. Wait, are you serious? You've lost friends because you support Donald Trump?
I have. But it's okay. It's okay to thin out your herd, if they can not appreciate the fact that I too have my First Amendment rights.
Now, let me ask.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: were any of those friends of yours that you've lost, were they minorities?
Absolutely.
Well, look at this. Okay, so now you're the racist because you support somebody, but they're disavowing their friendship with you because you support a particular white person?
Yes.
And who are they supporting? Do you know?
Of course I know. The Democrats, Hillary, Sanders.
Well, there you go. The left who touts that shouts that everybody should be accepting and let other people live the way they want to live is actually telling you that you have to live the way they want you to live, or else they're not going to be your friends.
Absolutely. And the thing is that then I get this whole script in a text saying that my guy does this and that and this and that, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, hold up. Do you understand that the Republicans actually freed the slaves? And then he said, how can you support a man? Now this is the part that I just had to laugh. How can you support a man who wants to deport an entire race? I said, this is how I support him, because illegal is not a race.
Well, let me. I know that there are liberals listening to this program. Let me help you tell them exactly what that is. That's BS for one, because Donald Trump doesn't want to deport any race. Muslim is not a race. Muslim / Islam is a religion. And no, he doesn't want to deport all Muslims. He wants to deport the ones that are so-called refugees who should not be here in the first place. And he wants to be able to stop the flow of new ones coming in until we can vet them. We already have enough problems with homegrown terrorism. Why do we want to import terrorists? It doesn't make any sense. That's Donald Trump's position. I fully understand that. And I don't know how it is so difficult for others to understand. But I know they hear this one thing, and then they were told, well, Donald Trump is a racist because he wants to deport an entire race, and then they equate Muslim with being a race, when that's not true. Because you've got Asians that are Muslim. You've got Arabs that are Muslim. You've got subcontinent Indians and Pakistani that are Muslim. You've got Africans, blacks who are Muslim. You've got white people, Europeans and people in the States of European descent who are Muslim.
And he was talking about the Mexicans. If they're here illegal, they've broken the law when they stepped across. That's the whole thing. I'm in North Carolina. I see a lot of it. I deliver mail for a living. I work for the United States Postal Service. I see it every single day. While I'm out there working, breaking my back, I'm the backbone of this country. Someone shouted the other night at a rally, the Mexicans are the backbone of our country. That insulted me, because that is not true. They say, oh, they'll do jobs that none of us want to do. My friend said that to me. And I said, you know what? We have to go after the people who are employing people under the table.
Yeah, yes,
we have to hit the companies that are employing these people, these farmers. I see it every day. I see them in the fields, and now they see my Trump sticker on the back of my car, and they look at me like, they'd like to shoot me or cut me. I'm not sure. It's just really, really sickening that we are being influxed with all of this, and they're pardon my term, they're raping our government. My Social Security that I've paid into since I was 16 years old.
Well, I've used that term. I said I say it's raping my wallet, but
Well, I have a handbag. Okay, they're raping my handbag.
I will say this though, it doesn't. I'm saying it only because I haven't noticed or seen it, but I don't think there are any Muslim Latinos. Has anybody noticed any?
I have not.
That's an interesting thing. I'm just pointing it out because sometimes I just notice quirky, stupid stuff, and that's just one of the things I just noticed that I don't.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. And that's okay as long as they're here legally. And then people go, well, your family. They want to go all the way back to the 1700s. Your people came over. They immigrated over here. I said, okay, we're going to go forward. The law was passed on this date. We're going to move forward from there. Then they said, well, we can't deport. We've done it before. Yet we have to. We have to.
Yeah, look, we've deported plenty of times in our country's history. I mean, we still do. And what I find very interesting is that we're Trump also mentioned rounding some of them up and putting them in camps so they can keep an eye on them, and everybody has a hissy fit on the left. And I think, well, one of your heroes did just that.
Yes.
FDR rounded up Japanese. He rounded up every single Japanese American he could find in the entire country and put them in internment camps, where, a good number of them died due to lack of medical attention. And the wonderful people that we have down in Gitmo and Guantanamo Bay, a lot of them seem to put on a lot of weight while they were in captivity. In other words, because they were actually being treated well and fed well.
Well, I know about that firsthand. My mother-in-law was full-blooded Japanese. My father-in-law met her in Japan, brought her back. She knows all about her people and how, what went down. So you're right. We've done it before. If we would just do it, and then we have to close our borders. We have to build the wall. We have to be a country.
Well, absolutely. So you are firmly You're firmly in the camp of Donald Trump, and I'm going to assume that because you do not have a New England accent, unless you're a transplant, you're not here in New Hampshire.
I am not in New Hampshire. However, I am a volunteer for the Trump campaign, and I have been calling the people of New Hampshire, and I would say probably 70% of the people that I personally have spoken to on the telephone are voting for Trump.
Well, we will soon see what the final tally is. Now, I got some news here about the midnight votes up in northern New Hampshire, somewhere around the neighborhood of 100 votes, and unfortunately Trump did not win it up there, but they've rarely predicted who wins the entire state. But it's interesting to see that they've gone for Kasich and Cruz. Talk about opposites, but yeah.
And Kasich, you know what? He gets out there and he speaks. I'll call it Trump-like. He breaks it down for people so that they can understand. People do need to understand that he keeps mentioning his state of Ohio. Okay, he fracked. Okay, that's how they, prospered.
Yeah, yes, that is true.
By fracking.
Well, here's to Trump and all the other contestants in the New Hampshire primary, and we'll put you down firmly behind Mr. Trump.
I want to share one more quick thing. When I was calling the people in New Hampshire, I spoke with an Arab woman. She was born in Jerusalem. she told me she had already voted early in New Hampshire for Trump. And she said to me with her very, very thick accent, she said, I voted for him. He's going to change America. He's a smart man. I couldn't take my vote back if I wanted to, but I wouldn't take my vote back.
Oh, there you go.
And she wanted me to, yes, and she wanted me to make sure that I had her name spelled exact. She made me spell it back to her. So there are, the news is not reporting what's really going on.
Well, they can't do that, or else it would change the whole dynamic of who they really are.
That's right. So thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for
giving
me a call.
Go Trump.
All right, go Trump. Thank you. Well, there's another Trumpster late in the voting process here today. Well, I guess not late. We're just getting started with the voting here in New Hampshire for the First in the Nation primary, and I will be casting my vote a little bit later this afternoon, and we'll see what happens this evening.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571 or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, franzblack.com. Franz black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
Bring the rain.
603-835-3224 is the call-in number should you wish to join me, your lovable host, El Rod, this morning here on the Rod Eccles Show, your new morning ritual, 9 a.m. to noon. And spend 3 hours, 5 days a week, that's all I ask, every morning with the person who is almost always right. And as I always say, it isn't because I'm super smart, although I am sort of, kind of, a little bit intelligent. I know how to use my head. I just use logic and facts and historical data. And when you do that, it makes it kind of difficult for you to be wrong about things. It really does. And so I always say that if you're going to try to advance mankind, you've got to do it in a way that is logical, that is factual, that is historically accurate. One of the problems that we have in this country, and this is, look, you got CNN out there with their it's not a poll, but it's their predictor. Now, CNN is predicting that the Democrats currently have a 60% chance of winning the White House in November. And for the life of me, when I saw that, I'm thinking, wait a minute. You've got a woman here that the FBI has formally announced that they're investigating her. It's no longer secret. It's no longer are we wondering exactly what part of Hillary they're investigating. They've come out and said it. Yeah, we're investigating her and her emails. And yet she still has this kind of support. Well, part of the problem is, and I don't know how the DNC was able to pull this one off, but good on you for doing this. They didn't have anybody. I mean, they kept Biden out of the race. Do you realize this? You have a sitting vice president who ran for president, who wants to be president even to this day, and yet he's not running. Instead, who runs? Who runs and gets all the attention and sucks all the attention from the other three candidates on the Democrat side that have dropped out? Bernie Sanders, an old, independent, left the Democratic Party, an independent, admitted socialist. And he's giving Mrs. Clinton a run for her money when he wasn't supposed to. Look, folks, if you want to, I'm telling you right now, this was all set up by the DNC. The only problem that they had is that Bernie Sanders was a wild card and could not be controlled by the DNC. But they were just perfectly sure that they would be able to manipulate the facts and the truth so that Bernie would be an also-ran and not pose any threat to Hillary Clinton. Well, obviously, Bernie had something different, had a different mindset. And the problem is because the liberals, they predicted something wrong, which is why I'm not buying the CNN predictor of 60%. And here's why. Because you have these liberals who have been poorly educating our youth and filling their head with all kinds of lies and garbage. And then last fall, the fall of 2015, all of that came back to bite them in the ass. They did not see that coming. They did not see the fact that, oh, well, we're going to teach these kids that, that the rich are evil people and they steal everything from people. They don't earn their money, honestly. And they should be, and if we just tax the rich more, they can pay for all kinds of stuff. And that, all this college education debt that you have, that's not your fault. It's not the college's fault. It's the fault of the big Wall Street banks who are charging you 5, 6, or 7% interest on the loans. That's the problem. And how do we get rid of that? Oh, we don't bring down the cost of education. We just make it free for everybody. And we'll just have the government pay for it, like all these wonderful socialist countries. And we'll get, universal health care because that's what we wanted in the first place instead of getting Obamacare. But we had to get Obamacare because the country wouldn't accept universal health care right off the bat. So, but now we're at that point where we have Obamacare and so we can move ahead towards our goal of getting the government to pay for everything and take care of you from the womb to the tomb. They've sold that to these kids, and in this generation, the millennials, for whatever reason, really absorbed it. And they kept saying, yeah, we deserve this. We deserve this. And because they got these useless college degrees. I mean, a lot of these kids don't really have a useful college degree. They have useless ones. And they get out of college, and businesses are like, well, you don't have any education. I don't care if you went to Harvard. You don't have any real education that can benefit my company. We're not hiring you. And we're especially not going to give you a high five-figure or low six-figure salary like you're demanding. You're not worth it to me. And so now they get out of college and they whine and moan and complain. Well, I can't get a job in the field that I studied for. My degree is in this, and I can't get a job in that field, so I'm not going to work. See, everybody should take care of me, so mom and dad should let me live at home, and I should get free college because the college loans are just starting to pile up. I got to start paying them back, and I can't get a job, and I'm not going to work for $12 or $13 an hour. I'm not even going to work for $15 an hour. I deserve to make $90,000 a year, and that's not $15 an hour. And then they start turning on the people who taught them. And they start saying, hey, this is your fault. The reason why we can't make it, the reason why we don't feel safe is this campus is racist. And it's racist because you're letting it be racist. The people that taught them about all this fake racism are now being accused of being racist. Isn't that a turn of events? So what the Democratic Party, the DNC, did not figure is this revolt of the millennial generation. They didn't figure on that. Frankly, I don't think anybody. Well, I said someday that this was all going to come back to even bite liberals in the butt. I didn't realize it was going to be now. But here it is now. And they cannot control the millennial masses. Frankly, the millennials really don't like Hillary. They don't like her. But the Democrats, they made sure that the field was cleared of any real alternative to Hillary. They made sure of that. Because this was her coronation, so to speak. This was her turn, finally. They're making up for what they did to her when Barack Obama ran. And now she's done it to herself, got caught in this quagmire, and the Democrats have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go. I mean, they are begging Obama to make sure that Loretta Lynch doesn't indict Hillary Clinton. Trust me, they're working behind the scenes to try to figure this one out. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place, but they cannot have their candidate of choice indicted. Now, as people know, it is very difficult to control the FBI. I mean, they're just independent. It doesn't matter who's in the White House. There's one thing you could do. Look, the FBI is just one of those law enforcement organizations that is very difficult to corrupt. Because the integrity of these, just by the simple selection, the integrity of those men and women are nearly beyond reproach. I mean, yeah, sure, there's some bad FBI agents, like there's bad cops. Of course there are. There's a bad apple in every organization, whether it be law enforcement or not. Well, it is very difficult to put one over on the FBI. They just don't go for that kind of stuff. And let me tell you, and once the FBI gets their teeth into something, once they sink their teeth into something, oh man, they're gonna hold on until they get what they want, until they get the answers and get what they're looking for. This was the last thing that the DNC wanted. They've thought for sure that most of this stuff would blow over by now. They thought it would blow over by last spring, and then all of a sudden the FBI started to sniff around. But by then, the fall came around, and they forced Joe Biden to stay out of the race. Now they're stuck. They're stuck. I just cannot believe for the life of me that this country would open, after everything that they have said about George W. Bush. He lied, people died. He lied, people died. He lied, people died. George W. Bush and Cheney, Vice President Cheney, should be on a perp walk. They should be arrested. They should be in jail. They should probably even be hung for treason. This is what the left was saying. Even after Obama was elected, they kept saying that George and Dick Cheney should be locked up. They were criminals. And now they're supporting a known, nearly proven criminal. They're stuck. Now, I don't think that the Bernie Sanders form of socialism is going to play out very well in the South and in the Southwest. But they have nowhere to go because the only thing they could do is support Clinton. I mean, this is a quandary that they've got themselves in here. Meanwhile, for the first time in a very, very long time, the Republicans actually have some real choice. And they had plenty of choice. I mean, if you wanted a flavor of the week, you had one. And there's still, at this particular juncture, there's still a lot of people in the race. I mean, this is really unheard of. To have this many, well, I mean, some people might say they're all not viable, but evidently, just a poll this morning, the final poll in New Hampshire, comes out and says that Jeb has bolted into second place. Now, I don't see that, but yeah, look, stranger things have happened. Yeah, folks. Jeb Bush is now polling. He's leaped ahead of Rubio and Cruz and Carson somehow, and Kasich. Oh yeah. Kasich is up there too. I guess now everybody is saying that Trump is going to win, and they better hope that Trump does win, because if Trump doesn't win this state, it's not going to look bad for Trump really, because Trump will. If Trump doesn't win, which is unfathomable at this particular point, I hate to say it, but it looks like he's gonna walk away with New Hampshire. But if he doesn't, then he's an automatic second. I mean, really. But if Trump doesn't win this state, it is going to make all the pollsters and all the lefties look totally and absolutely ridiculous. And it is going to be very difficult for them to get that credibility back with any place else. Because they have been touting this guy, and even though they don't like him, the left does not like Trump. But they've been touting him. They've been saying, well, geez, Trump is like, he's double digits ahead. At one particular poll, not just less than 2 weeks ago, right after Iowa, Trump was ahead by the next person, which was Kasich, by 30 points. Now, you could say that they were building him up so they could show that his support was eroding, but they can't make it erode that much if it really isn't there, if the erosion really isn't happening. Because they'll look like fools, they'll look like idiots. They understand that, so they're doing all the little tricks that they possibly can to bring down Donald Trump, and they're doing all the little tricks that they possibly can to bring down conservative candidates like Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio, and trying to build up and bring up moderates like Jeb Bush and John Kasich. And if you're not one of those people, then they're not even talking about you. They're not talking about Fiorina. They're not talking about Carson. They're not talking about anybody else. I mean, even Christie just sort of forced his way onto the stage by what he did at the debate. But the lamestream media wants you to know that Christie is not a conservative, but he's a moderate. And they're blasting a picture out there of him hugging Hillary Clinton. This is one of the strange. You want to talk about politics being strange? This is one of the strangest political seasons I have ever seen in my life. It is one of the most confusing, conflicting political seasons I have seen in my short history on this planet. It's absolutely, on both sides of the aisle, it is absolutely mind-boggling what we have going on right now, folks. And this is why everything is so screwed up. Right now, there is a battle for the very soul of this country happening right now, during our lives. It is revolutionary. This election is going to decide, really, in what direction that this country is going to go, what road we're going to travel down for the next 100 years. And I say 100 years because if we decide that we don't like it, it is going to take the rest of the century in order for us to correct it. Many of us are not going to be alive by the time that full correction takes place, if it does take place. You're looking at, I'm telling, this is no joke, folks. I'm not overstating this. But you have to realize that the millennials' grandchildren are going to have to live with the decisions that we make this year. Think about that. Your 20-something-year-old child is going to be a grandparent someday. Their grandchildren are going to have to live with the decisions we make today. That means your great-grandchildren or your great-great-grandchildren, if the millennial that I'm talking about is your grandchild right now. Do you realize how far into the future that is? How far that takes us? That takes us into the next century, folks. This country can either be saved or lost for the next 100 years by what we do today. Because I guarantee if we go down the socialist path, if we go down that path, this country is not going to survive. It will not. There will be no way for us to survive, either by economics, by politics, by war, or any combination of the three. The United States will, before the end of this century, this is a dire warning, by the time that this century closes out, if we go down the path of Bernie Sanders, by the end of this century, there will not be, as we know it, the United States of America. Understand that. 336, you're live on the Rod Eccles Show. What you got?
Rod, I can't agree with you more, brother. That's a simple fact. The young folks in this country right now don't understand the principles behind socialism, and that's one thing we really need to get out and start educating our younger college students and high school students. They really need to know what's going on with socialism. And I'm a Trump fan, and my call in this morning is for the folks of New Hampshire to please get out and vote Trump. The last check, we have spent $750 million on subsidies for illegal aliens in this country, and that needs to come to an end. That's the same as socialism to me. They're not citizens. They don't deserve benefits in this country. We want to be kind to everybody, but we don't need to be using our insurance money that needs to go to our grandparents on folks that don't even belong in this country. It's time to put a stop to that. It's time to get Trump in, get this wall built, and get this economy back where it needs to be. We do not need socialism. We do not need someone that needs to be in prison, and I'm talking about Hillary Clinton. We need to get a strong Republican in there. We need to get Trump in there. And, Rod, I'm hoping you pull that lever for Trump, man. I'm just getting on the show this morning, but I want to see you in there pulling that lever. When you pull that lever, you're making that deal. You're making that deal for this country to take care of this China problem, brother.
You know, I just said this morning that late last night I made my decision on who I'm going to support in this primary. And I said I'm not going to tell everybody because that would be probably the worst thing I could possibly do to this audience.
Yes, it is.
But I tried to base it like, look, and I'll say it again. I have been told I received some very wise advice a long time ago that said, well, you're never going. When I was having troubles before trying to figure out who I wanted to support, and this man, an older man, and very wise, he said, you're never going to agree with anybody 100%. He said, your best hope is to find a candidate that agrees with you 80% of the time. If you find that person, that's your candidate. So I'm looking at all of these candidates, and I'm honest about it. None of them approach my 80% mark. None. I've had major issues with every single candidate, which is why some people are saying, well, you sound pretty fair when you're taking people to task on this. I said, yeah, because I really have not made up my mind. And so I had to go down to the 70% mark. And I said there were two candidates that rose to the 70% mark. And I had to choose between those two. Now, again, I'm not going to say who those two candidates were. I'm not going to say who the final candidate is. But it came to the point where I had to just do the logical thing is figure out who agreed with me most. And that's the person I would logically have to support. And that's fine. Maybe for somebody else that one of the candidates did reach that 80% threshold. Good. That's the person you're supposed to support.
Yes. Well, let me tell you, coming from a Trump supporter and to be able to call on this show at different times, I respect you so much for not telling everybody who you're voting for, because that's the problem with a lot of these folks that are hosting these radio shows. They go ahead and put their support behind somebody, and that is a big mistake because everybody needs an equal shot when they call in. If you pick one candidate, then all you're doing is just cutting off listeners. You're just saying, okay, I don't even want to hear your side of the story. I've made up my mind, so why bother calling me? And I respect you so much for that, man. A lot of radio hosts have put basically some of them have put their careers on the line because of this election, and I think that's a big mistake. You're making a it's your choice to go in that booth. That's why there is a booth. you go in there and you make your own choice and you keep that close to heart, brother. That's what your father, I've heard you talk about your father being in the military before. A long time ago, I've listened to a tape of that. And that's what your father would want you to do. He would want you to make that decision, but yet give everybody else a chance.
He would. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm up against a hard break here, my friend. We gotta run. Thank you so much for your call. Bye-bye.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday, and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Again, here on this primary day here in New Hampshire. I am, of course, your lovable host, El Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere in the great granite state of New Hampshire, where people are out, in the snow, casting their primary vote today. It is primary day, February the 9th, which is a Tuesday in the year of our Lord 2016. The call-in number this morning is still 603-835-3224. And, look, folks, I got to tell you, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way, because I'm not a fearmonger, and I do not believe it's time to panic yet. It's not time to panic. I will let you know when it's time to panic and pack your bags and head for the hills. Right now it's not. But, and I know people hate that but. Okay, so I won't use but. However, I know people equally hate the word however. There is a caveat. And look, I've always told you that I'm honest with my audience. I mean, that should go without questioning. I'm not playing any games here. I mean, I'll play around with liberals a lot, but when it comes right down to it, I'm not playing any games. This is too serious. And I got to tell you, to be totally and completely frank, I am scared. And I can admit that because, first of all, I'm very secure in my masculinity and manhood. And second of all, being scared doesn't make you less of a man. but being able to confront that fear and do it anyway. Now that is a sign of a real man. I'm not going to run from this. I'm not going to try to hide from this. I'm scared for our country because it could go down a path that I do not want it to go, that millions of Americans do not want it to go. And even for many of, not all, but for many of the people who say they want to go down that particular road, when they start going down that road, they're going to realize that they don't. And this has already happened before. There are people that have voted for Obama. They regret doing so. There are people, even liberals, who were all for Obamacare. And then they got stuck in Obamacare and they realized they made a mistake. That happens. But we are now going down the socialist road. That scares me to death because I see what socialism and communism has done to countries and people all across this planet, and none of it is good. I do not care how many times Americans want to tout some other country and how they did things, because let's face it, the rest of the world is not doing so well. There is no utopia. And every time they put these stupid liberals and socialists into office, they screw around with the people that they're supposed to be representing. Look what's happened to Europe with the influx of so-called refugees. I mean, just today, got a story here in Germany. Where is that? Boop-a-doop-a-doop. I wasn't even going to bring this up at this particular point, but since there's a story here, I'll find it in just a second. Where in Germany, they found an ISIS commander living in a small German town as a refugee. Now, do you think he was there because he wanted a better life and to escape all the turmoil back in his home country in the Middle East? No, he was there to do damage. The Germans found this guy who happens to be a commander, a commanding officer in ISIS. In the meantime, here in this country, what we've got is the state of California issuing over 600,000 driver's licenses to illegals. Now, to be very frank, I don't think that there should be a federal law for this, since there is no federal driver's license. And I believe that it is up to the state of California to determine how they issue their state ID. The problem is that we've tied this driver's license, the state-issued driver's license, to everything federal. Do you understand the danger of that? If you get a driver's license from a state, it is now quite easy. It's not 100% guaranteed, but it's easier for you to get all sorts of federal benefits, including a passport. Yes. Now you've got American identification. And this is driver's licenses are reciprocated, reciprocity, in all 50 states. If an illegal goes to California, gets a legal state-issued driver's license, identification, driver's license, and they decide to move to the state of New Hampshire, well, the state of New Hampshire has to recognize that driver's license and all the benefits that come along with it. So what one state, but what we have to understand is that I know some people say, well, wall off California. Well, let's not have reciprocity. Well, you can't do that. And here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that all of a sudden you stop having reciprocity. Now you live in Kentucky, but you want to drive and take a vacation in North Carolina. And of course, you have to, let's say you for whatever reason, you have to drive through Louisiana. You get pulled over in Louisiana for, I don't know, maybe because you got out-of-state plates. Maybe you're doing 60 in a 55. They've been known to do that. The officer comes over and says, "Hey, boy, so you got this Kentucky driver's license here. That driver's license don't work here in Louisiana. You're driving unlicensed in this state. You are now under arrest and your car's impounded." You see the problem that we would have with that? Because that would happen. That would not be a rare scenario. That would be an all too common occurrence. It's stuff that probably did happen, which is why they decided to make it have a reciprocity situation with driver's licenses in all 50 states. Because you don't have a federal driver's license. There is no such thing. It's like firearms. There's no federal license to carry a firearm. In fact, you have some people, constitutionalists, that really question the ability of federal agents who do not have a license in a particular state to carry their firearm in that state. And indeed, you have some sheriffs who are exercising their constitutional duty and right and their state constitution's duty and right and say that federal agents must get their permission to come into their counties to do federal business. There is no firearm reciprocity, and you can see the problems that we're having with that. Somebody who is legally carrying in their state, they pack the firearm in their checked luggage, so they're not bringing it aboard the plane. It is going into the cargo hold, and it's it's not loaded, obviously, and that kind of thing. And then for whatever reason, that plane gets and they're going to a state where it's legal for them. They're flying to a state where it's legal for them to have it, and they get diverted to a state where it's not legal because they don't have reciprocity in that state, and they get arrested and have their firearm confiscated. That happens a lot, folks. Now, you compound that with a driver's license, and you have got a cluster what. There are certain advantages to being a union. Now, please remember this. I know we don't have civics classes anymore in elementary or high school, but you millennials especially, you've got to understand this. The United States is a republic. It is not a traditional country. We are a union of 50 states or 50 countries. And I go back to this point. We made a huge mistake back in the day by keeping the title of each state's executive officer as governor, instead of transferring that title to president. That was a huge mistake on our founders' part. There should not be, because a governor means that they are subservient to another executive. In this particular case, the way things were working, it was to the king. They governed something or a piece of land or a territory for the king. Governors do not govern their individual states for the president. Governors should have been called presidents. Should have been the president of New York, president of New Hampshire, president of California, and the president of the United States. But they made the mistake and kept the title governor. It was only a matter of time before the Fed decided that it was superior to the states. And that's where we are today. The federal government believes that it is superior to the United States, and the Constitution does not do that at all. If anything, the Constitution actually makes the states superior to the federal government in every area that is not listed as duties of the federal government. Do you folks understand that? The reality is, if we're going to be constitutionalist, if we're going to follow the law of the land, in areas that are not specifically designated as the purvey of the federal government, the states are superior to the Fed. That's the truth. I see maybe what I probably need to do is start doing some American civic history lessons on this program. Much like, you could do that kind of, you can take American history lessons. It was Hillsdale College has them for free a lot. Online classes or courses. There's a few other constitutional based colleges, institutes of higher learning in this country that do the same thing. But Hillsdale is probably the most famous and popular for that. Maybe what we need is just history lessons for everybody to be able to hear without having to sign up for anything. Because what we have in millennials is they don't know our country's history. They do not know it. They know zilch about our history. Here's a story while I was talking to you. I found it. Islamic State commander from Breitbart.com. Islamic State commander found living as a refugee in a rural German village. In the latest of a series of raids, German police have searched 2 homes in a rural village after a television channel interviewed a suspected Islamic State commander living there as a refugee. Now, Sankt Johann, S-A-N-K-T, Sankt Johann, Johannn, is a small village in the southwest German state, Rhineland-Palatinate. It's something of a rural village. Its 800 residents live between vineyards in the shadow of a 14th century Gothic church. And yet, as Spiegel TV reports, S-P-I-E-G-E-L, German TV, this weekend it was a scene of police raids on 2 Islamic State-linked suspects living in refugee housing. Hey, Obama, you got an Islamic ISIS commander who got into Germany posing as a refugee. And yet you want to tell us that, our borders are controlled. We don't need to worry about the Syrian refugees or any other refugee. We can vet them. We can let them in. What? So our FBI and other police agencies can be overwhelmed, who are already overwhelmed. They can be further overwhelmed. I'm watching the miniseries, and this is important. This is relatable. Right now, I'm watching the miniseries Madoff on Hulu. What was it, an ABC or CBS? Something I don't know who it was, but right now I'm watching the miniseries Madoff, starring Richard Dreyfuss as Bernie Madoff. And one of the things that came to light, Bernie Madoff got away with his Ponzi scheme for over 40 years. Do you realize, at that particular point in time, he had one of the world's largest hedge funds. I mean, it was something like $28-30 billion worth of scammed money sitting in this Ponzi scheme. And the reason why he was able to get away with it, not only because he was such an upstanding citizen, which really, obviously, he wasn't, but he was such an upstanding citizen that he didn't make any waves. For 40 years, he kept his head down. even when he served as the chairman of the board of NASDAQ, our second largest trading company. You know, the New York Stock Exchange, and you have NASDAQ. He was a chairman for what, 2 or 3 years? Because everybody believed this guy was on the up and up. He was some sort of financial genius. And then finally, some nerdy numbers guy out of Boston took his whole prospectus and his whole plan and his whole results, and he dissected them and reverse engineered and found out that it was impossible for him to achieve the results that he achieved unless it was fraudulent. And he tried and tried and tried, and finally he took it to the SEC, and finally a friend of his at the SEC said, look, we only have 137 agents. We're overwhelmed here. You know, and there are so many, managers of funds and financial companies that the SEC oversees. There's only 137 agents at the time or something, some real small number like that. We're overwhelmed. How are we going to figure this out? We can't find all these people all the time. So we have a bunch of people who are getting away with criminality, even to this day, in the financial markets in this country, simply because the police department, as it were, the SEC, the agency charged with policing that industry, is overwhelmed. So it was at the point that Bernie Madoff knew this, and he figured that if he kept under the radar, if he kept his head down, if he wasn't so braggadocious, that he could probably, because he knew that the SEC was overwhelmed, he could probably fly under their radar forever. The problem is that once people started to hear about the returns, and the wealthy, once they started to hear about his, because it travels in circles. All that stuff travels within the community. People hear about it. Even if the government doesn't hear about it, government, other people who are in the know, they hear about this guy, and they start just giving him. He doesn't ask for it. They start giving him his money. Now, instead of him saying no to some of it, he takes it all. The fund starts to get too big. People start to notice and wonder how he's doing it. If he would have stayed small, they probably never would have caught on to Bernie Madoff. But he got a little bit arrogant and a little bit greedy, and he thought he could run this forever because he'd already done it for 35 or 40 years. That's how he got caught. Is because some legitimate fund managers were saying, well, how the hell is Madoff doing this if we can't do it? We got to figure out what he's doing so we can give similar returns to our investors. That's how he got caught. If he was a $1 billion hedge fund instead of $30 billion, he probably never would have been caught. Because nobody would be paying attention. Oh, he's got a small thing, He's niche marketing. He's in a niche. Our investors aren't niche like that. These are just specialty people. They do small stuff. That's how they hedge their bets because everything's so small. They could not scale that up. And then Bernie did scale it up, and that's how he got caught. What you have here is Islamists who are trying to run below the radar. And then for whatever reason, they got themselves noticed. They got noticed by the authorities. And then here they come. They come and raid and find out, well, hey, you're actually like a big wheel in ISIS, aren't you? Well, we're going to take you down, dude. but they didn't notice them before. Why didn't they notice? Because they kept their head down, because there were so many refugees. It was easy to hide because the authorities were overwhelmed. And the authorities were overwhelmed simply because these liberal, socialist, they know everything leaders decided that the people of their countries were going to be open and kind and generous in the eyes of the world, and they were going to accept these people, no questions asked. The problem is that the rest of the world doesn't view Europe and the United States as kind and generous. They view Europe and the United States as being foolish, stupid, and downright idiotic.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571 or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
When you're ready ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Friends Black and his music on his website, friendsblack.com. Franz black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
Bring the rain.
603-835-3224 is the number right here to get to me. Yours truly, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show. This from NBC News. Dateline, Hudson, New Hampshire. Bill, while stumping for Hillary Clinton in Hudson, New Hampshire yesterday, he said, and I quote, "Sometimes I wish we weren't married." Now let's put this into full context as Bill explains it, and then I will put it into full context as he probably really means it. In his last appearance before the primary today, former President Bill Clinton said he wishes sometimes that he wasn't married to Hillary Clinton because then he could speak more freely. He said, "Sometimes when I'm on stage like this, I wish that we weren't married. Then I could say what I really think." That's what Bill Clinton said before introducing his wife at a rally. He says, "I don't mean that in a negative way. I am happy." No. He needed to say that. And since he needed to say that, after he said that sometimes he wished he wasn't married, it was a full-face Bill Clinton lie. He's not happy. He's not happy at all. What he said was, "Sometimes I wish we weren't married." He means that. And not for political reasons. The reason why they stayed married was for political reasons. Look, you got to understand, everybody fully expected Hillary Clinton to divorce Bill after they got out of the White House. But then Hillary decided that she was going to run for Senate, and she was shopping for a state in order to get an easy seat. And the Democrats offered New York up to her. As soon as she entered the race in New York, I knew right then and there was no possible way for her and Bill to ever get a divorce. Because at some point, at some day, she was going to be bold enough and stupid enough to try to run for president. You can't do that as a divorcee. Not divorcing a very popular president like Bill Clinton. She would have become a pariah. Now follow me for a second, folks. You have to, if Bill Clinton went out, left the White House in complete and total and utter shame, pretty much like Richard Nixon when he resigned. Nobody would have blamed Pat Nixon for divorcing Dick Nixon after they left. Nobody would have blamed her. They would have said, yeah, good for her because, he was a lying, cheating, criminal, whatever. They would have said that Pat, yeah, she's a strong woman, man, to stand up against her evil husband. Now, Bill Clinton, on the other hand, also impeached like Nixon, basically committing crimes, high crimes and misdemeanors, like Nixon. But yet the same sort of disdain did not follow Bill en masse.
like it did for Richard Nixon. I mean, you even had the so-called feminist groups who went silent as all of this stuff about Bill's womanizing came out. Remember, Bill Clinton idolized John F. Kennedy, and John F. Kennedy was rumored to have, well, we all believe that it's a fact, but rumored to have been a womanizer, but nothing on the level of Bill. Evidently, John F. Kennedy didn't have sexual relations with a person that wasn't his wife in the Oval Office. Bill Clinton evidently did it more than once. John F. Kennedy never lied under oath on the stand in a court of law. Bill Clinton did. But for whatever reason, the general public, Bill Clinton still enjoyed public approval. General public approval. So if Bill Clinton had left office in shame, if he had been totally demoralized, people would have stood up for Hillary if she decided to divorce him and said she's a strong woman standing up for women's rights and she believes in women and she's a great woman. She would have been a shoo-in for president. Do you realize that? Do you people realize that Barack Obama became president because the American people refuse to convict Bill Clinton? And because of Hillary Clinton's ambition, thereby, she could not divorce a popular former president. She would have looked like the biddy that everybody thought that she was. She would have been ostracized. There wouldn't have been hardly anybody standing by her. They would have just, oh, geez, Hillary, you're a jerk, man. Everybody loves Bill. How can you not love your own husband? And they would have come out and said, well, this is why Bill was cheating on you, because you were just a biddy. She played the political card. She read the direction of the wind, and she's decided that, look, I got to stay married to this guy. If I'm going to achieve my personal political goals, I got to stay married to this guy. And indeed, we noticed that for the first term of her Senate career, her and Bill really didn't live together all that much. In fact, you had some people in the lamestream media make note of that. So Bill gets on the stump yesterday and says, sometimes I wish we weren't married. Then I could tell you what I really think. Trust me, this is still a marriage of convenience for the both of them. This is phony. It's drummed up. And they're doing it for political reasons. They're doing it for now the legacy of both of them and for Chelsea. So even if Hillary doesn't win the White House this time, I guarantee you they'll stay together simply because now they're too intertwined with the Clinton Foundation and for Chelsea, who has already hinted that someday soon she wants to run for public office. Now, they can't tarnish the Clinton name by a nasty divorce because it will harm Chelsea. Make no mistake, the two of them love their daughter dearly. They are proud parents. They really, I know there were some rumors out there a long time ago that Chelsea wasn't Bill's kid. I don't buy that, but I don't know. It's kind of like if you want to go across the pond to the British royals, when people have said that Harry is not Prince Charles' youngest son, that Harry is the byproduct of Princess Diana having an affair. Quite frankly, I don't see the family resemblance to Princess Di or to Charles in Harry other than Harry's ears. Prince Charles, I'm sorry, he's got some major. Look, I got ears that stick out. I do. I got Will Smith ears that stick out, little ears. Charles has got some major Dumbo ears that stick out there, and Harry ears kind of resemble Charles's ears. So that's about the only thing that looks like Charles on Harry. I mean, Harry's a fresh-faced, freckled redhead, and I don't recall the last time the royals had a redhead in the family. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's highly unlikely. But there were people that said that Chelsea could not be Bill's child because she looks nothing like Bill. Well, I would argue she really doesn't look like Hillary either, but yeah, and there were some people that said that that Chelsea was adopted because Bill and Hillary didn't really have sex because Hillary was a lesbian. I don't buy that either. Because they say the same thing about the Obamas. The two Obama children are adopted because there are people out there that still insist that Michelle is a tranny, transvestite, a man. Because that goes along with their belief that Obama is actually secret in the closet gay. I don't buy into that either. I don't buy into any of that kind of ridiculous nonsense. But it's out there. But it shows what people will grasp at anything to support their dislike for a particular Politico. Left or right side of the aisle, doesn't matter. They will cling on to anything that justifies their hatred for particular Politico. And it has always been the case. I mean, this is nothing new. You could go back and see derogatory, hysterical theories about people like about presidents like Taft and even FDR. This is nothing new. When you have a person who's in power that people just cannot believe are in power, and they really, really loathe that person, somebody comes up with this theory about why this person is this way, and others that really dislike them will latch onto it. And no matter what you do or what you say, they will always believe, no matter what I do or say, or anybody else does or say to prove that Michelle Obama is a real born female, they're going to believe that she is a tranny. They're just going to believe it. Because that's what they need to hold on to because of their strong dislike for them. That's kind of sad because it takes away from the reality. There's plenty to dislike about the Obamas without accusing them of being a gay couple. Really, there is. You don't need to make up stuff. There's plenty to dislike about the Clintons without bringing up that kind of nonsense. Let's face it, Bill Clinton was speaking truth when he says, sometimes I wish we weren't married because I don't believe there's a lot of love there in that marriage anymore. Maybe at one point in their early days there was, but I don't think it's there anymore. And I think it's now just a marriage of convenience. And let's face it, Bill really wants to get back in the White House. He loved those days. He loved that 8 years that he had there. Who wouldn't? I mean, the power, the prestige, everything that goes along with the presidency, who wouldn't want that? Especially after you've experienced it and you know that you've only got a limited time. Look, this is why the Obamas live so high on the hog. They know they have a limited amount of time. 8 years max, that's it. Then you're done. Then you're back to normal. You don't get all this wonderful stuff. You don't get Air Force One. You don't get limos. You don't get all the accolades and the shouting crowds anymore. You're a former president. That's it. You're supposed to go away. But when Bill says that he sometimes wishes that he was not married, he means that. And he does mean it in a negative way, which is why he had to clarify by saying he didn't mean it in a negative way. He's not happy. But for the sake of the Clinton legacy, and for the sake of all of the millions of dollars that they made and will continue to make, he can stay married to her. They don't have to live together. They don't. And even if they do, they can buy a house big enough now where they don't even really have to see each other. Just think it's quite interesting. Because because you got Bill out there accusing some Sanders supporters of being sexist. Really? Bill Clinton is running around saying that some Sanders supporters are sexist, which is why they don't support Hillary. A sexist is accusing other people of being sexist. I mean, really? Who does that? Let me put it in perspective. That would be like the wonderful Bundy running around accusing other men of being child molesters. It holds no weight. It doesn't. MSNBC is reporting FBI formally confirms its investigation of Hillary Clinton's email server. In a letter disclosed Monday in a federal court filing, the FBI confirmed one of the world's worst-kept secrets, that it's looking into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. Well, since we all knew this, why say it at all, right? Everybody knew that was already happening. Well, they're coming out and saying this now because in August, in a response to a judge's direction, the State Department asked the FBI for information about what it was up to. The FBI said sorry at the time. They couldn't either confirm or deny the existence, of any investigation. Remember, that's what they said. We can't confirm or deny this. But in a letter dated February 2nd and filed in the court yesterday, the FBI's general counsel, James Baker, notes that in public statements and in congressional testimony, the FBI has acknowledged generally that it is working on matters related to the former secretary and her use of a private email server. Now, Baker says the FBI has not, however, publicly acknowledged a specific focus, scope, or potential targets of any such proceedings. He says in the one-paragraph letter saying that the FBI cannot say any more without adversely affecting on the ongoing investigative efforts. Basically. So, mum's still the word, so to speak, but they have said that, yeah. Everybody knows that we're doing it, so we're going to admit that we're doing it. We're investigating it. And right now, it's at the point where the FBI couldn't keep it under wraps. They just couldn't. They can't. And it's something that, this is why this is not good. See, all of this was supposed to have been swept under the rug last spring. But the Clintons and the Obamas could not sweep it under. Well, I don't even think Obama really wanted to sweep it under the rug back then. But they couldn't. Even if they wanted to, as it were. So, there you have it with Clinton's investigation story, what's going on with her, and I think a lot of that is being reflected. Look, you have to understand that millennials, they don't like dishonest people. Millennials really don't. They really don't like dishonest people. And since they don't like dishonest people, they're not going to support her, at least not at first. Now, all that is going to change if Hillary actually gets the nomination. However, it's going to be very difficult for Hillary to get the millennials to come out and vote for her. This is the whole reason why I don't buy this CNN number that the Democrats have a 60% chance of winning. Now, I've also stated that the Republicans, basically this November, the Republicans have the White House if they don't lose it. This is not an election for the Democrats to win. They cannot win it. The Democrats cannot win the White House this November. But, however, the Republicans can lose it. They can lose it. And this is more dramatic than Obama and Romney. Because even some liberals have said, oh, yeah, Romney botched that. Romney lost the election. Obama didn't really win it. Romney lost it. There is a difference. Now, this is the same thing that can happen again, but in greater fashion. Now, say what you will about Obama. Well, I don't like him. I don't like his politics. I don't think I'd like him personally, to tell you the truth. You can say whatever you want, but I will say this about him. He is not a criminal. And there are many, many, many Americans that believe Hillary Clinton is a criminal. The only criminality that came about Obama is that, oh, he's just not a natural-born citizen. He's not eligible. And he forged his he faked his birth certificate. That's the only criminality that they had about Obama. The rest of the stuff that they call criminality was really their difference in opinion about his politics. Yeah, you can say his politics and his beliefs are criminal. He breaks the Constitution. With all these executive orders and such, granted, I'm not going to disagree with that part, but the overall criminality of Obama did not exist. The overall criminality of Clinton, in many Americans' eyes, does exist. So there is a bigger divide today between most of the candidates on the Republican side and Hillary Clinton than it was between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. But Mitt Romney refused to take Obama to task on many important issues. Mitt Romney lost the election. So this November, it is the Republicans to lose. Whoever the nominee is, whoever that nominee is, basically they've already won. They will just have to do their damnedest not to lose it. And frankly, since the Republicans have done it numerous times in the past, in the recent past, I mean, if you want to go all the way back to George H.W. Bush, some people say that George lost the election, that Clinton didn't win it. I don't know if that part is true, but I do know that Dole lost the election to Clinton. The Republicans lost to Clinton because of Dole. Bill didn't win that election. They lost to Obama the first time because of who? Yeah, McCain lost it. And then Romney lost it. Do you realize that probably not since 92, the Democrats haven't actually won the White House? The Republicans lost it. And now this is the same thing that could happen all over again if the Republicans aren't careful. They could actually lose the election to, of all people, Hillary Rodham Clinton. I don't know about you, but I don't think that people would be very happy about that. But I know it's really going to depend on who we decide to put into that position. Whether it be Trump, Cruz, Rubio, Carson, Fiorina, even Bush, or Christie. Now, let me be blunt. Obviously, people know I'm not a Christie supporter. I do not believe Christie has a chance of beating Hillary. I don't. I think Jeb would have a very difficult time of doing it as well. But this is an election that is already won by just about whomever becomes a Republican nominee. All they have to do is not lose it.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom133.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom133.com. Go to freedom133.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom133.com.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday, and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. The fastest 3 hours in internet talk radio is right here on the Rod Eccles Show. Coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. The call-in number is still 603-835-3224. Pro-choice group. A pro-choice group cries foul over Doritos commercial ultrasound. Now, I gotta tell look, you people on the left, you I know they say pro-choice, and this is from Fox News, by the way. Pro-choice is not pro-choice. It's pro-abortion. Now, let's just be frank about that. You don't want women to have a choice, because every time somebody says, well, women should be told about having the choice of adoption instead of abortion, you people flip out. It's about pro-abortion. You don't want pro-choice. You're not about pro-choice. Let's be frank about that. You prove it every single time you open your freaking mouths about this issue. And I find it interesting that you on the side of pro-abortion agree with the terminology of those on the right and call it pro-life. Isn't that interesting? They don't try to change the narrative by saying that they're not pro-life. Oh, sure. When they try to go against pro-lifers, what do they say? They're anti-abortionist. Well, wouldn't that be
if you are actually being pro-choice, wouldn't that be their anti-choice? No. You guys on the left, you call them anti-abortionists. Pro-lifers, you say, are anti-abortionists. You're not saying they're for choice. Not at all. Let's look at it logically of what you people are actually saying. And all you got to do is listen, and people will tell you everything you need to know. Just listen to them. And the left has framed this as pro-lifers are anti-abortion. Not pro-lifers are anti-choice. So therefore, when you go against somebody who wants to promote life, you get upset, which means you're not pro-choice. If you were really pro-choice, you would promote all views and all sides. You would tell women, look, you have the choice to choose abortion or some sort of pro-life road. You know, keep the kid yourself, give it up for adoption. You would say and promote you have three choices: abortion, keep, adoption. That's not what pro-choicers say, because they're not pro-choice, they're just pro-abortion. And so when you do or say anything that they perceive to be anti-abortion, they are going to flip out on you. They cry foul over a Doritos commercial. A Doritos commercial. Come on. We're talking Doritos here, people. You know, it is said that Doritos make great fire starters. I haven't tried it, so I don't know if that's true or not. But that's what they say. And who are they? I guess it would be the people that have tried it and said that it works. I haven't tried it. I don't know what's in Doritos that would allow them to be flammable. If that's the case, I don't know. I haven't really. I like eating Doritos every once in a great while. I do. I eat them. I try not to. You know, I've been more cognizant of the intake of sustenance and lack thereof, because some food is not substance; it's just a filler. I wouldn't even really call it food, but they say it's edible, so I ingest it sometimes on a rare occasion. But I've been more cognizant the older I get of the food that I eat. I really prefer stuff that's real. You know, not highly processed. And let's face it, Doritos are a highly processed food. They are. And I'd rather eat something that is minimally processed. And you know, one of the interesting things that I found when I visited France was the very fact, and Iceland was the very fact that they tend to not have highly processed foods, even in their convenience or grocery stores. It's minimally processed, and the stuff was really good. I got a story here about speaking of highly processed foods. It sort of goes along with this. Let me get back to the pro-choice thing in just a second, but it kind of ties in together. This is from WND.com. Evidently, somebody out there. Now, this may cause many of you parents to think twice about this, but according to WND, they have a piece here about McDonald's Happy Meals. Evidently, somebody, for whatever reason, I don't know if this was a purposeful, well, it didn't sound like it was a purposeful experiment. It sounded like it was just sort of forgotten. I don't know how you forget that you buy a McDonald's Happy Meal for your kid, but evidently this Happy Meal was untouched for 6 years, and it looks nearly identical to a fresh Happy Meal. That's some highly processed stuff that real food doesn't last unscathed or unchanged for 6 years. It just doesn't. Anyway, let's take a quick call. 315, you're live on the Rod Eccles Show. What you got?
Hey, how you doing? Talking about Trump today. He's going to win New Hampshire?
Yeah, he's one of the people that we've been talking about, yes.
Yeah, he has a good chance of winning tonight. It's too bad, he has a lot of media problems. They leave out words. They leave out the word temporary, he has a hard time with that. If he got real good media, I think that a lot more people would be going from.
Well, you can forget that. You know that the lamestream media is not going to give a Republican good press, even if that Republican is a moderate. They will turn on him on a dime.
You're right. Right, that seems to be the problem here. And if he takes New Hampshire, you're going to be looking for a lot. You're going to see a lot of attacks and a lot of stuff because the GOP party is really getting upset about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, evidently their two favored boys of Bush and Rubio are doing okay.
Exactly.
According to the last poll, somehow Bush has been able to go from like nearly last place to second place. Don't know how that happened, but hey. I'm not doing the polls, so I don't know.
But if you look at the situation and you see how Bush, first he gets Rubio into the Senate, and then he, on the debate stage, he's not able, he's not ready to be president. He talks good about him, and then he talks. This is what's been going on for years. It's just for years.
Now let's be honest about this whole thing. Basically, as I laid out earlier today, just about whoever is the GOP nominee will be the next president of the United States.
I believe so.
So when you're talking about being the most powerful, most influential man on the planet, and then even after your 4 or 8 year stint, you are still extremely powerful and extremely influential. That's everybody wants that, and friendship does not matter. This is politics.
But, you have to I hope the people will realize that Bush, especially with a guy like Bush, he has so many connections. He's going to be taking care. This is a common sense thing, is it not? I've been thinking about this for years. They take millions of dollars. They have to pay off these. They have to, they have to do what these guys want. They're contributing millions to them. It's a common sense, no-brainer thing to me.
Yeah, there's always the payback factor.
Of course.
And this has been going on for a century or more with this type of thing. There's always the insider influence, and this is why we have the professional political class, is because there is this, it takes money to get elected type of thing.
Exactly. And the people of the United States, they're working too hard. If you look at the median income, it's about $30,000. People working too hard. They're working 2 jobs. They don't have time to really get involved in the politics. And this is how media sways them. They'll listen to their favorite channel, which is, how Fox is Republican and MSN, they're Democrat. You know how it goes. So if that's your favorite channel, you're going to go by what they say. People don't have time to get involved. They listen. They don't really get to hear the whole extent of the situation,
Well, I always chastise the American people for using that excuse, because when you actually look at the numbers and you realize how much time that they're spent actually watching mindless television, I would say that they do have time, even when they're working so hard, and that they need to pay more attention, because if they don't pay attention, well, they end up where they are right now, working so hard.
Yeah.
If they had somebody who was really looking out for the best interest of the vast majority of Americans, maybe many of those people who are working so hard wouldn't have to work so hard.
Yeah, but, I know it seems like an excuse, but I think it's a big problem, with that. Look how many people come out to vote.
It is a problem. It's always been a problem. I mean, look, we've always found, if you go, this is historical data. If we just go back and find when they were actually able to keep track of who voted and, who actually voted, you would find that a grand majority of recent citizenized immigrants were the ones who were doing the voting. Now, we don't have a majority of immigrants anymore. We're not. This country is not on that growth hockey stick curve with so many immigrants, and now we're looking at a nation that is aged. We've come of age, and so now we have a lot of people that have been here for generations,
right?
For 2 or more generations. Their families go back that far. So that whole pride notion of doing your civic duty has been lost, and that is
right.
Partly due to the fact that we don't have civics in our schools anymore. We have indoctrination, but we don't have civics. So
right.
Kids aren't learning that it's an important civic and citizen duty to pay attention and to elect your representatives because this is your government. You are the government. Now it's
absolutely.
Now it's turned into the government is our boss.
Exactly. That's right. And it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be the other way around. Look at Obama, how he does these executive orders. I mean, who is he really? Is he for the people? Who is he for?
Well, see, that's why we get such a low voter turnout, because people look at this and say, well, look, it doesn't matter who I vote for anyway. They're just going to do whatever they want to do. So why should I even bother?
That's it. They feel like my one vote isn't going to do anything. That's the problem. But that's why we're trying to. I'm Citizens for Trump on Twitter, and we're pushing out. We're trying to get as much information on. It's amazing how people come up to us and they compare it, and they say, I know about Donald's family for years. I read his books, and anybody who really knows the guy will understand he's a true American patriot. Look at his beautiful family. He wants the best for our country. He's sick and tired. I've been listening to him on the radio for years. He's sick and tired of what's been going on. And you got to, give him credit for stepping up and sacrificing,
I will say this. If he actually gets to be president, he will take a huge, huge pay cut. Now, I have heard somebody did tell me that if he wins, that he would forego his $400,000 per year salary.
He had mentioned that.
I haven't heard him say that, but look, other people have said that that's what he said, and I can see him doing that because basically $1.2 million to Trump is chump change. I mean that's
right.
That's not even going to pay back what he's already spent on the campaign. So
exactly, and he doesn't have to do this. Look at what heat he's taken. He has businesses overseas, and they're taking his name off of things, and he's really. You don't hear a lot about this, but he's sacrificing a lot. It's costing him more than the people really know to go through this. And, I just hope they appreciate it and people realize what he's out for. He's out for the best. He wants to protect us. He's kind of old school, if you notice, Mr. Trump. You don't see too many guys like that anymore.
No, he's definitely not a professional politico, and he obviously is not beholden to anyone. And let's face it, even within his own rarefied air circle of fellow billionaires, they're kind of split too. They're not all for Trump. They're kind of split.
Right.
Even the see, this is the thing about people talking about money, being in politics. Even the Koch brothers, who are also billionaires, are not exactly fans of Donald Trump for president. They may like him as a businessman, and they may even do business with him, but they're not backing him for president.
Right.
I do believe the Kochs have backed Rubio. Did they not?
Right.
Yeah, I think they're putting their PACs behind Rubio.
Do you realize something, that if Donald Trump hadn't stepped in, Bush would have went right. Bush would be your man right now. Bush would be the number one man. Because of all the money he had behind them. It's the money that's buying these politicians. It's the money that's enabling them to get, even though they're, it's amazing. And Trump, and do you think the Republican Party this year was going to bring up immigration at all? That was the last thing they wanted to bring up. Trump exposed everything. Now they're all following through. Yeah, you hear them all, everyone. Cruz, I'm going to build a wall. It's amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, he has changed the discourse of this campaign. That is something that that's why I've always said, whether I ended up supporting him or not in the primary, the whole point is I'm glad that he's in the race and that he's still in the race, simply because he has upset the political apple cart, and this is a totally different type of campaign simply because he's in it.
Right, and things will be changed from here on out, which is, you have to thank him for that.
Well,
I believe.
I hope so. I hope it doesn't go back to returning the way to the days of old.
Well, let's all hope that. I got to run now, so you have a nice day, okay? Good talking to you.
Thank you for the call. We got, another Trump supporter. Good on you. When you get behind somebody, get behind, but please make sure you fully understand the pros and cons of that particular candidate and be able to articulate your reason for supporting a particular candidate. Not necessarily just because of Trump, but just be able to know why you support somebody, and don't spew out talking points or sound bites because that's already been proven to have been a disaster to support people simply on sound bites. But anyway, yeah, the Happy Meal thing. I don't eat a lot of fast food, and especially from the big three. And don't get me wrong. I love the stuff. I really do. I mean, you can't. It's adequate. It definitely fills you up. It's not really nourishing to your body, but it fills you up. It cuts the hunger pains, and in many cases, it tastes good. That's why we eat stuff, because we like the taste. And I've been, I haven't been shy about the fact that the only thing that I really eat at McDonald's, I know it's probably one of their most disgusting things to eat, is the fish sandwich, because I don't like the rest of McDonald's food, to tell you the truth. That's my personal preference. But I do prefer, when it comes to fish sandwiches, I prefer the Wendy's fish sandwich, the best out of the big three: Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's. But if I'm going to have a burger, if I want a fast food burger, not a restaurant burger, but a fast food burger, I would much rather have a Five Guys. I do love Five Guys. And I know some people have said, but Five Guys is so expensive. But the reality is, it's not really. Because by the time you get done, even with the so-called value meals at the other big three, by the time you get done with that particular type of burger or sandwich, you're at $8, $9, $10 anyway. That's the same thing that you are at Five Guys. And it's a lot better, in my book. I'm a fan of Five Guys. I really am. And Dave & Buster's also has a very good, and there's a place down on Providence, Rhode Island, I do believe it's called Fire and Ice. Also very good burgers. Fire and Ice down in the Providence Mall in Providence. I don't know if they call it the Providence Mall or not. I don't go to malls very often, but it's right there as you get off the highway, downtown Providence. I think it's called Fire and Ice. It's good stuff. Dave & Buster's, very good. But it's still, when it comes down to it, I think my favorite fast food burgers that I've tried so far are Five Guys. When I went out to California for a vacation, yeah, I ate at, the In-N-Out burger. I wasn't impressed. I felt it was like another McDonald's, but everybody told me, that's because you didn't get an animal style. Now, I have no idea what that means, really. I didn't get an animal style, but I don't know what that means. I guess next time that I'm out in California, and I'll have to go to an In-N-Out burger and request animal style, and see what I'm almost kind of afraid to do that, simply because of how they term it. But look, at least you have the choice right now. Can you imagine all the jobs that would be lost if our government decided that people needed to limit or eliminate certain food choices? Trust me, they're getting to that point. Look what they did in New York City. Michael Bloomberg, who's now really seriously considering getting into the race as an independent, which would really end up splitting the Democratic vote, which is fine with me. Unless our nominee is Jeb Bush, then, or Chris Christie, or John Kasich, then he might be drawing from both sides. But I think a Bloomberg entrance really is going to draw more from the Democratic side than it would from the Republican side. But can you imagine? Now, look, Bloomberg has already tried. He tried to limit the size of the soda that you could buy in New York City, and eliminating. In many New York restaurants, I think you actually have to ask for salt. They don't put it on the table anymore, and you have to ask for it. I think that's a New York City law, and the last time I was in New York City, you walk down. There are signs on buildings facing the sidewalk. If you walk down 8th Ave, you will find that there are buildings with signs on them that say 8th Avenue is a smoke-free street. If you want to smoke, go to 42nd Street or go to 54th Street or something like that. But 8th Avenue, How many people knew that? 8th Avenue is a smoke-free street. Now, I don't know exactly what that means. I'm not a cigarette smoker, but if somebody were to light up on 8th Avenue while walking down 8th Avenue outside, walking down the sidewalk, would they get arrested or get a fine ticket? I mean, honestly, who does that kind of thing? Who says that that's okay? The government is getting into our business where it's now telling us what we can eat, how much we can eat or drink, where we can smoke, whether or not, legal products here. It's amazing. So don't think for an instant that the federal government can't come down and say, well, no, you can't. You've had your allotment for McDonald's this month. You can't have any more. Don't doubt me, folks. Do not doubt me.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571 or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
When you're ready ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, franzblack.com. Franz black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
And we are back. Welcome back. I am still your lovable host. And we are still here talking about all the wonderful stuff that's going to happen here in New Hampshire, as well as why is that doing that? Up and down, up and down, up and down. It's got to stop. It's driving me insane. But anyway, welcome back. 603-835-3224 is the call-in number. Should you wish to give me a buzz, still, you got about another 20 minutes or so to give me a call before we all have to go out, at least I have to go out, and do my civic duty and cast my primary vote. Yes, I have made a decision. I had to do that last night. Finally figure out who I wanted to support, and I did that, and that is driving me insane that it keeps going up and down that way. But it is what it is on live radio. Sometimes this kind of stuff just happens over and over again, and there it goes again. I'm not even touching anything. It's doing it by itself. Well, we'll just let that finish out all by itself. There we go. I don't know why it was. I don't have my hands on it. Just interesting software issues there, I suppose. We have the caucuses, and well, we got, is it March 2nd? Is it March 2nd? That first Tuesday in, no, it'd be March 1st is Super Tuesday, where 14, 15 states will go to the polls for their primaries. And Florida is not until March 15th. So those of you who are paying attention to Bush and Rubio, their primary is in March 15th, on March 15th, as it were. And that is, well, you know, it is what it is, folks. If you are going, well, look, as I was saying before about the people in support of pro-abortion versus pro-choice, they're taking the Doritos ad to task because evidently there's an ultrasound, and while the dad was eating Doritos and the baby was reacting to dad eating the Doritos. And the problem that the pro-abortion people had with the ad is that, and I quote, they humanized the fetus. Do you folks just understand what they just said? They humanized the fetus in a Doritos ad. That's their big problem. You know, the dad is stupid and unaware, and the mom is too uptight. That's what these pro-abortion people were tweeting about the Super Bowl ad. The dad was too much of an idiot. He was dumb, stupid, you know, not paying attention. You know, he's just out there in left field enjoying his Doritos so much he doesn't notice how uptight mom is because the baby's moving around the dad crunching on Doritos.
And by doing that, you're humanizing the fetus. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. You just, this is, I don't know who comes up, who decides what these people should be. People ask if there are other people out there who were tweeting for Donald Trump, or if anybody reviewed what Donald Trump was tweeting before he tweeted it. And, most people who know Donald Trump would agree, no, the Donald doesn't refer to anyone before he makes a tweet, and he doesn't defer his tweeting to anyone. That if it's on his Twitter account, it is most likely 99.9% of the time Donald J. Trump making and writing the tweet. If it's not, it's somebody who thinks an awfully lot like him. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's his son Don Jr., or maybe it's Ivanka. There are people out there that don't like Ivanka because she's supporting her father for president. And they're having a hard time. This is interesting, because they're having a very hard time disparaging Ivanka Trump. And this is why. Because they can't call her stupid. Because Ivanka has accomplished a lot in her, she's in her early 30s, right? Like 30 or between 30 and 34, or somewhere around there. But Ivanka got a degree from a very prestigious business. She went to Wharton like her father did, I do believe. And that's not easy to do. And she has helped her father run the great Trump empire along with her older brother, Don Jr. And now, since Eric graduated from college, he's also now in the family business, if you will. So you have three very accomplished children that are not stupid. And Ivanka is a very beautiful young lady. So she's got beauty and brains. Now, they could disparage Sarah Palin by calling her stupid or ditzy. Oh, yeah, she's all beauty, no brains there, is what they used to say about Sarah Palin. They cannot say that about Ivanka. And Ivanka, in her own way, is very much a feminist, believing that women, she's married, she has a child, recently had a child, and, she's doing it all. Helping to run a multi-billion-dollar international corporation, having so far a very successful marriage and raising a family. She's got it all. They can't disparage her. They can't call her stupid because, she doesn't make vocal slip-ups like you can say Sarah Palin may have done, simply because Sarah Palin comes from Alaska and didn't go to Wharton or Harvard. I don't know where Sarah Palin went to college, to tell you the truth. I don't know. But the one thing, because Sarah Palin has the Alaskan accent, very, sometimes very simplistic Alaskan speak, so they can call her an idiot sometimes, or a ditz. They're wrong because Sarah Palin's not stupid, but that's how they played her. But they can't do the same for Ivanka. And it's driving them insane because they're thinking, how can this smart, accomplished, beautiful, feministic woman support Donald Trump? Notice how the left leaves her out of it. I mean, the left has tried to attack Melania, and they tried to say, "Oh, Melania has posed for Playboy." She never did that. She never posed for Playboy, but she was a model. And let's face it, she was an A-lister model. And we know these A-list models, female models and male models too, in that category. They take modelistic, artistic photographs. And sometimes they might be semi-nude, or suggestively nude. And she was no different. But notice there's one thing they cannot disparage about her either. I mean, some people tried to say that she's a gold digger, but that didn't seem to work. But they cannot say that Melania is stupid either, because when she was a model, if you go back and look at her modeling career, modeling days, what people said about her then is that she was very smart. So they can't disparage her either. So the left is having a very hard time with these two women. And let's face it, Donald Trump's first wife, Ivana Trump, brilliant woman. Brilliant. So it's not like Donald goes for, well, I know there was a time that he was married to Marla Maples. That was questionable. Okay, gotcha. But Donald Trump surrounds himself with very capable, very smart, intelligent, as well as beautiful women. Does that sound like a sexist to you? Does that sound like a guy who hates women? A guy who hates women is going to want simplistic, simple-minded women around him. He's going to want to be their superior. Donald Trump surrounds himself with extremely capable and extremely intelligent women. That is not the typical sign of a sexist. It's not. So I find it very interesting that the left, they kind of have to kind of leave these women out of it. I know some people on the left are talking about, and some people, from the Cruz camp on the right have said that I kid you not, there were people that said that she was not eligible to be first lady. Speaking of Melania, I don't know where they got that. I haven't seen anywhere in the Constitution that says that the first lady, that the president has to be married to a natural-born citizen in order for her to be first lady. What's he supposed to do if he wins the election? Divorce her? Look, if you want, we've had a number of first ladies in the White House who've had a lot of class. Even if they weren't very beautiful, they still had class. And we've had some beautiful first ladies, Jackie O, Jackie Kennedy, beautiful, classy. Pat Nixon, not necessarily on the beautiful roster, but classy. Even Rosalind Carter, not beautiful, but a classy woman, classy first lady. Now, there are people that argue that Nancy Reagan wasn't either beautiful or classy, but she was first lady material. Barbara Bush, she was the grandmother of first ladies. A classy that's what they said about Barbara Bush. Barbara Bush is still seen as probably one of America's favorite first ladies. The woman just had class. And then we get Hillary Clinton, who hardly anybody liked, and no class. Then we get Laura Bush, again, another classy lady. Argue about whether or not you thought she was pretty or not, that's irrelevant. She still had class. And arguably so, now we have Michelle Obama, and I don't know anybody who would consider or construed her as being classy. Hell, even the left doesn't describe Michelle Obama as being classy. Just saying. And it has nothing to do with whether or not you think she's a tranny or not. Just, she's not a classy woman. But Melania would bring back beauty and class. Unarguably. Sure, there might be some detractors on whether or not she's really beautiful or not, but that would be the minority. Plain and simple. And I'm not saying that this is how you pick your candidates or you pick your president based on who they're married to. But if you're looking for, they're having trouble disparaging somebody who actually had. Now think back to George H.W. and Barbara Bush's days. The left had a very hard time of saying anything negative. Yeah, they found some negative stuff that they could say about her, but they had a hard time finding negative stuff to say about Barbara Bush. They did. They had a hard time saying negative stuff about Laura Bush. They did not have a hard time saying negative stuff about Nancy Reagan. They didn't. They had Nancy Reagan, even though she had some class, she was still pretty much considered to be a nasty woman like Hillary Clinton as First Lady. Look, I love Ronnie dearly. Think he was probably the greatest president that we had in the 20th century. One of the top three, easily, that we had in the 20th century. By far. One of the best presidents this country's ever had, Ronald Reagan. I have to admit, I didn't particularly personally like Nancy Reagan. I didn't like her very much. She was not a likable woman, much like Hillary is not a likable woman. The difference is that Nancy Reagan didn't decide to run for Senate or run for president. Hillary Clinton is. And Hillary Clinton's real negatives really are through the roof. I mean, they like to point out that Donald Trump has negatives over 50%, but so does Hillary. And they always say, well, nobody's ever been elected president who's had negatives above 50% or above 40% or something like that. And I'm like, well, I guess you could possibly have two candidates that have negatives that high. One of them is going to be elected. So I guess it's going to come down to who is disliked the least of the two. And I think by far that would be Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump would be viewed favorably and liked more, even by people on the left, than Hillary Clinton. Just saying. And look, Donald Trump is already pulling people from the left. He already is. That's no joke. That is the truth. You can't deny that. I mean, everybody look. People who used to say that they're not into politics are showing some excitement. Much like now look at this. Much like Obama did in his first run. He pulled people into the political system that had not been a part of it by their choice before. And now he's pulling people in. And so today we have the Democratic and Republican primary here in New Hampshire. And then on Saturday, February 20th, everybody runs down to South Carolina for the Republicans, for the Republican primary in South Carolina, and the Democratic caucus in Nevada. Now, why are they not on the same day? Well, I don't know. Maybe they just don't have enough places to hold all the people who would go out to caucus, unlike Iowa did, on the same day, so they split them up. So the Democratic caucus in Nevada is Saturday the 20th, and the Republican caucus is Tuesday the 23rd of February. Now, the reason why the South Carolina splits it up is because they have something called an open primary, where, kind of like an election, anybody can go in and vote for a Republican candidate, and anybody can go in and vote for a Democratic candidate. And you obviously can't vote twice in one day, so they split it up. So Saturday, the 20th, is the Republican primary, in South Carolina. And Saturday the 27th, a week later, it is the Democratic primary in South Carolina. And then we go to Tuesday, which is March 1st. I do believe I said March 2nd. It's actually March 1st. Comes in at Super Tuesday, where you have 15 states will go to the polls, either as a caucus or a primary. Well, actually, it's 14 states and American Samoa. Did you know American Samoa actually caucuses? They caucus. That's kind of interesting. And Florida, so it's 14 states plus American Samoa. And there's actually, it's a Democratic caucus in American Samoa, and there's 10 delegates up for grabs there. 10. Just saying. But in any case, then you go again. Then you start dithering down, and you get to March 15th, which is a Tuesday, and you get additional primaries. And there's other primaries in between. By the way, if you want to know when D.C. is actually doing the Republican caucus, is Saturday, March 12th. And at the same time, so is Guam, where there's another 9 delegates in Guam. Northern Marianas has a caucus. 11 delegates for Democrats. 9 for Republicans. But Florida is on the Florida's primary is on Tuesday, March 15th. And the reason why I mentioned Florida is simply because we have this focus on Rubio and Bush from the same state. So it'll be interesting. I believe that no matter how George Bush does today here, it'll be kind of, if he doesn't do well during Super Tuesday, it'll be hard for him to stay in the race. But I think he's going to stay in until Florida. If he does not win Florida, he's out. Bush will be out. But I don't think that this primary today will eliminate anyone per se, because it's just the first primary, and there's too many more leading up in such a short period of time leading up to Super Tuesday. Now, I think as we get closer to March 1st, we may see some of the bottom dwellers, dump out. But I don't think we're going to see many. Yeah, if Carly Fiorina does not do well, I think you're going to see people start speculating that she's going to need to drop out. And that's too bad. I like her. I really like her. I really do. You may see other low number getting people bow out after New Hampshire and South Carolina. But I think most candidates are going to stick it out until Super Tuesday, which then I think we will find that will whittle down the field to maybe 4 or possibly 5 candidates. And then after March 15th, the Florida one, I think that's when we'll really start to determine how, if people don't do well, I think then we'll narrow the field will be narrowed down to possibly 3. I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not a fortune teller. But basically, it gets very difficult if you're at the bottom and not doing well to pull anything out after Super Tuesday and after Florida. It really becomes hard to continue on, because the money starts to dry up and starts to go towards those candidates who seem to show more promise. So it gets more difficult for an underdog after Super Tuesday to pull it out. So Super Tuesday is a really hard deadline for many of the candidates, and it's really going to help. Bernie Sanders is not ducking that. Bernie Sanders, I believe, is going to take Hillary all the way to the Democratic convention. I think he is. I don't think he's going to drop out. I don't care how poorly he does in the southern states on Super Tuesday. I think he is going to be in it until the convention. He sees this as the opportunity to strike and to influence the Democratic Party to move them farther and farther to the left. And he's going to do that until he can't do that anymore. But he's going to do that until he gets to the convention where he thinks he can put some of his planks into the platform. You know, free stuff. That's all Bernie Sanders is about free stuff. Well, right now I'm going to get out of here and go do my civic duty and cast my primary vote for my candidate of choice. And then I'm heading over to Manchester, Radisson, on Radio Row, where hopefully I'll get to talk to a lot of different people. 90.7 FM, New Hampshire Family Radio. Until then, Rush and Hannity are up next. I'm Rod Eccles. This has been The Rod Eccles Show. I'm out.